space. So feel free to prop your hips up onto something if that's available to you. If not, no worries. And once more, if you're just joining us, you will need something to prop your hand onto. So a yoga block or a sturdy water bottle, something like that. And so as you find this tall, comfortable seat, just begin to close your eyes or allow the gaze to soften. Rest your palms wherever feels comfortable, either face down, face up. And then just begin to allow yourself the time, the space to arrive into this practice. So it's really easy just to, actually, it's not easy. It's very challenging actually to kind of allow everything to fall off to the wayside, because there's always the to-do list, and it's really impossible to just put life on pause as much as we would like to do that. So as best as you can, just spend these next few moments letting go of everything that's already happened during the day, and whatever will happen after practice hasn't happened yet. So just focus on arriving to your mat, the four corners of it, and this entire practice. And as you begin to settle into this space, just take inventory of what's going on with the breath, the body, the mind. And see whatever might be arising for you at this current moment in time. And whatever that might be, physical, emotional, mental, just know that showing up to your mat is not only a discipline and a challenge. So begin to give yourself that credit. Whatever it is that you might be bringing into this practice with you, just acknowledge the current condition, and all you're doing is bearing witness to it. So any judgment that you might have of it, just begin to let that go as well. And as you take inventory of the physical body, just notice any points of tightness, tension, soreness. Can you send a little extra breath there to those places during practice? And I want you to begin to elongate the spine. So as you feel the sit bones root down, press down into the ground. Feel the ground press all the way back up into the spine, so the crown of the head continues to reach all the way up to the ceiling, the sky. Feel the low belly tone up, so you have your mula, your Uddiyana bandhas, those start to turn on. And feel how both sides of the waist continue to find length. Allow the front ribs to lightly tuck inwards as you draw the shoulders up, back, then down away from your ears. Begin to feel a sense of broadness through the chest as you allow the heart to lightly float up towards the ceiling, the sky. And can you pull the base of your skull back just a bit so that the shoulders stack directly over the hips? And then start to shift awareness towards the breath as you feel the rib cage expand and contract lightly. What's the quality of it? However it might be, fast, smooth, shallow. We'll sync up the breath cadence together through 3 cleansing rounds of breath. And to start, take a deep exhale, empty out all the air. And 3 rounds together. Take a deep inhale, fill it from the very, very base of your belly. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. 2 more. Deep inhale into the lungs, expand your ribcage. And open mouth, exhale. You got 1 more. Deep inhale into the chest, collarbones, head. And open mouth, exhale. And coming back to the beginning, just begin to acknowledge your current condition and use that to help set your intention for practice. And your intention can always be a thought, a phrase, a word, a feeling, or an action. And begin to ask yourself, what made you make a conscious decision to take time out of your day to be here in your body, to show up for yourself? Now, whatever your intention might be, alongside your breath, allow it to guide your practice. 1 more round of breath just to share our collective intentions. Deep inhale. Smooth exhale. Allow the eyes to blink open. And then we'll still hang out in this seat. So bring both feet together. Knees out really wide. Hang out in Baddha Konasana, so seated bound angle. Press your soles together as you allow that action to force the knees to fall a little closer down towards the ground. And for this first time, bring your hands behind your hips, tent up through the finger pads. I want you to prop the chest up, pinch the shoulder blades together, so it's kind of like a shelf propping the chest up, and then allow the heart to passively lift up towards the ceiling. At the same time, you're pressing the soles of the feet together, and then start to feel a stretch through the inner thighs. One more big breath. And then begin to crawl your hands forward, any amount of hinge into your hips. So not the deepest, most profound forward fold, but still feel the action that you're pressing your feet together, feeling that glue in as the knees continue to fall a little closer. One more breath here. And then rise all the way back up. Both legs will come out to opposite ends of your mat. So I'm facing the long ways. I think everybody will be to the side. And then any amount of bend into your knees to start. I want you to feel as if you are pulling the heels towards your sit bones. Like we did in Baddha Konasana, both hands behind you, tent up through the finger pads. Feel a slight pinch to the shoulder blades as you prop the chest up. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, undo that, crawl the hands forward, and then fold any amount. Can you still keep that action that you're driving your heels towards the sit bones? And then feel a little sensation through the inner thighs, perhaps a little bit of the backs of the legs. One more big breath. And then make your way back towards center. Nice. Bring both feet in together. And then bend both knees. Start to lean back and then elevate your shins. You can hold on to the hamstrings as if it feels pretty intense, but I want you to keep the spinal column really, really long. Continue to keep the heart lifted so both sides of the waist stay really long. Stay here holding the hamstrings or begin to reach the arms forward. Continue to feel the low belly engage. Last 3, 2, and then 1. Begin to cross out your ankles, hands forward. Make your way to a downward facing dog. So as you come into this first inversion, take a moment to bend one knee, bend the other. And as you do this, continue to take inventory of the backs of the legs, the arms, how they feel in the shoulders. Feel the thighs drive a little closer to the chest, and the chest drive a little closer to the thighs. All right, make your way to stillness and then separate your feet as wide as your mat. Do this, press firmly into the ground with both palms. And I want you to bend both knees deeply, almost as if the thighs want to touch the rib cage. First, begin to pike your hips up a little higher. Straighten through both legs, track the knees back in space. Now, can you drive the heels down, feeling the heels really heavy towards the mat? We'll do 2 more just like this. Bend the knees deeply, thighs almost want to touch the rib cage. First, pike the hips up, drive the knees back in space, and then melt the heels down towards the mat. 1 more just like this. Bend the knees deeply. First, pike the hips up, straighten through the legs, and then allow the heels to be really heavy. Drive them down, down, down towards the mat. Begin to normalize your down dog stance. And then begin to draw the right leg up and back in space. Exhale, bend at the right knee, stack your hips. Take circles, shakes, wiggles as you feel the right heel really heavy towards the left glute. A little bit of a side body stretch here as well. Awesome. Inhale, right leg up. And then exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Tent up through your finger pads, gaze forward. Take a deep inhale breath. And then on your exhale, shift the hips up and back, straighten through the right leg to the best of your ability. 2 more just like this. Inhale, rebend. And then exhale, shift your hips back. This time, as you rebend through the right knee, walk both hands to the outside of your right ankle. Continue to turn and pivot along the right long edge of your mat. And then begin to shorten your stance any amount. So for some of you, you'll arrive to the baby toe edges of your feet. For some of you, you can continue to shorten the stance and flatten through both soles. As you are here, you can tent up through the finger pads or utilize your block underneath your palms. And I want you to feel the sensation as if you are driving the head down the sit bones, the pelvis starts to tilt up in space. Keep a squeeze through the inner thighs, and any amount of bend into the right knee that you need to do, go for that. Keep both sides of the waist really, really long. A little bit of an outer left hip, a little bit of the IT band to the left. And then if the right knee is bent, begin to straighten it. Walk your hands back towards the top of the mat. Rebend through the right knee. Step back, find a downward facing dog. All right, other side. Inhale, left leg up. Then exhale, bend at your left knee, stack your hips. Same thing, other side. Circles, shakes, wiggles. Start to lubricate through the left hip socket. Awesome. Inhale, left leg extends. And then exhale, step your foot in between your hands, tent up through the finger pads. Gaze forward, chest forward. Exhale, shift the hips up and back, left leg straightens to the best of your ability. 2 more times. Inhale, rebend. Exhale, shift the hips back in space. 1 more. This time as you rebend, walk your hands to the outside of your left ankle and then continue to turn and pivot along the left long edge of your mat. So you're more or less creating this X shape through both legs. You can either choose to stay on the baby toe edges of your feet if this is already enough sensation, or you can continue to shorten the stance so you flatten through both soles of the feet. Once more, you have your block or your water bottle or whatever that you have to prop underneath the hands as needed. Squeeze through the inner thighs and then drive the head down. Feel the sensation through the back of the right leg, outer right hip, a little bit of the IT band as well. Again, you can bend into the left knee any amount just to facilitate the length of the spine. You got 1 more breath wherever you are. Nice. Go ahead and walk the hands back towards the top of the mat. Turn and pivot your body. Hands frame your left foot. Step back, downward facing dog. All right, from your downward facing dog, big inhale breath. Smooth exhale breath. Inhale, gaze forward, soft bend into your knees. Bottom of your exhale, just walk towards the top of your mat. Find a halfway lift, really long spine. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, arms extend all the way up towards the ceiling, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana, hinge at your hips. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, upper back engaged. Then exhale, fold forward. 2 more times. Inhale, arms extend all the way up towards the ceiling. Press through both feet. Exhale, fold forward, hinge at your hips. Halfway lift, really long spine. Then exhale, fold forward. Final time. Inhale, arms extend all the way up towards the ceiling. Press through both feet. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, really long spine. Then exhale, hands flat, step back, find a high plank. Take a smooth inhale breath. I really want you to puff up through the upper back, kneecaps lifts. Exhale, slowly lower all the way down. Find a Cobra Bhujangasana, lift just your chest. Little to no weight in your hands as you dig the pubic bone down, tops of your feet down. Exhale, release. Sweep the palms back behind you, Shalabhasana, locust. Lift the arms, chest, legs. Continue to draw everything tightly towards the center of your body. Exhale, release. Slide your palms near your shoulders, tuck your toes. Use the inhale breath to press up to a tabletop or plank. Exhale, shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale breath. Smooth exhale breath. Inhale, gaze forward, bend your knees. Bottom of your exhale, hop, step, jump, walk, top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Then fold forward, exhale. Inhale, arms extend all the way up towards the ceiling, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana, hinge at your hips. Halfway lift, look forward, lengthen. And then exhale, hands flat, step back, find a high plank. Once more, big inhale, breath. Feel the navel snap in towards the spine. Exhale, lower all the way down. So Shalabhasana variation. Bring your fingertips to frame your ears so elbows are out wide. Lift the arms, chest, legs. Lift everything really, really high. From here, can you allow the left elbow to tap down towards the ground so you're lifting your right elbow up in space, bringing all the weight over towards the left. And then slowly make your way back towards center, switch. Allow the right elbow to touch the ground, lift the left elbow up in space. Can you lift the left hip as well? Nice. Inhale, come back to center, elbows out wide, chest, legs lift. Exhale, slowly release. Slide your palms to your shoulders, tuck your toes. Press up to a tabletop or plank. Exhale, hips up and back. downward facing dog. Smooth inhale breath. Smooth exhale breath. Inhale, gaze forward, bend your knees. Bottom of your exhale, hop, step, jump, walk, top of your mat. Halfway lift, really long spine. See if you can shift more weight forward. Then exhale, fold forward, release. Inhale, arms extend all the way up towards the ceiling, press through both feet. Exhale, fold forward, hinge at your hips. Halfway lift, really long spine. Exhale, hands flat, step back, find a high plank. Once more, big inhale breath. Shoulder blades far, far away from each other, press the ground away. Exhale, lower all the way down. You'll find a Sphinx pose this time. So elbows underneath the shoulders. No interlacing of the hands, so bring the palms out flat, chest nice and broad. So going towards a forearm plank. Take a big inhale breath, gaze forward. With control, curl vertebra by vertebra in. Tuck your chin in, lift the chest, belly, hips, thighs. Stay on your knees or tuck your toes, lift your knees, your shins. From here, gaze in between the thumbs. Keep the upper back puff like you did in your plank. Please angle the left forearm in towards the center of your mat. So left fingertips face the right forearm. Begin to rock on over to the left side. Come into a forearm side plank. Start to lift up through the outer right hip. So you feel the bottom left hip lift a little higher as well. And then stretch the right arm all the way up and overhead. Take one more big breath. And then transition back, forearm plank briefly. We'll switch. Angle the right forearm in. Rock on over towards the right side. Lift up through the pelvis. So bottom right hip lifts, forcing the left outer hip to rise a little higher. Then stretch the left arm all the way forward towards the front of your mat. One more breath. And then transition back, forearm plank briefly. It's almost over. I'm doing this with you. Deep inhale. With control, lower knees, thighs, hips. Back to your Sphinx. Smooth inhale. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Transition back, downward facing dog, however you'd like to get there. Deep inhale breath. Smooth exhale breath. Awesome. Inhale, gaze forward, bend your knees. Bottom of your exhale, hop, step, jump, walk. Top of your mat. Halfway lift. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, arms extend all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, palms towards your heart. Release your hands to your sides. Inhale, arms extend all the way up. Then exhale, fold forward, hinge at your hips. Halfway lift, look forward, lengthen. Exhale, hands flat, step the right foot back. Keep the right knee lifted. Press down through the right palm. Lift the left fingertips all the way up. So here, lift up through the pelvis. So your right leg is really, really on line. Lean the left shoulder a little further back in space as you keep the pelvis nice and lifted. One more breath. And then exhale, left palm down, step back, high plank first. Smooth inhale breath, begin to shift forward, shoulders past the wrists. Exhale, bend your elbows halfway or lower all the way down. Up dog, cobra, or locust, back bend of your choice. Exhale, shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands, keep the left knee lifted. Feet about hip width distance, use your low belly strength, rise up, high lunge, your full crescent. Arms reach all the way up and overhead. So sink down low into the right knee, then fully extend through the front left hip. As you do this, please take your right hand towards your right hip and use the thumb and all four fingers to drive the flesh of your thigh down towards your mat, towards the glute. So you're externally rotating at the right hip. Lengthen through the left arm, reach. On your exhale, tip on over towards your right. So you're creating a little bit of side bend, a little bit of a balance challenge as well. Elongate through the left as you inflate through the left lung, expanding the left rib cage. Listen, on your exhale, bend your elbow, hook it to the outside of your right thigh. Allow the right palm to join, find a revolved high lunge. So as we twist, really, really important to gain as much length as you can along the side body, as well as forward. So think about breathing into the spaces in between each vertebra. So you're reaching the crown of the head forward. One more deep breath. And then exhale, hands flat to the mat, step forward, left foot to the top. Halfway lift, inhale, really long spine. Then exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, arms extend all the way up towards the ceiling, press through both feet. This time, slide your palms towards your heart, release your hands to your sides. Inhale, arms extend all the way up. Then exhale, fold forward, hinge at your hips. Find a halfway lift, look forward, lengthen. Exhale, hands flat, left foot back, keep the left knee elevated. Press down through the left palm, reach the right fingertips all the way up towards the ceiling. Again, left hip wants to drop, keep it nice and high. So really press through the left heel, almost as if I'm pressing your heel forward, but you're trying to resist that. Then reach the right arm all the way up as you lean the right shoulder a little further back in space. Take one more big breath, both legs nice and active. Exhale, right palm down, step back, high plank first. Smooth inhale, shift the shoulders past the wrists. Exhale, chaturanga or lower all the way. Up dog, cobra or locust. Exhale, draw the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg extends. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Rise up to a full crescent high lunge. So arms reach all the way up and overhead. And it's almost as if you are wearing that jacket that's 2 sizes too small. So suck everything in towards the center, front ribs draw in. Once more, you'll take your thumb to your left hip. And I want you to externally rotate at the hip. So drive the flesh of your thigh down towards the mat. And then lengthen through the right side, reach. Tip on over to your left. If you're feeling a side body stretch as well as a stretch through the front right hip, the hip flexors really getting elongated here. They tend to shorten up as we sit a lot. Take one more big breath here. On your exhale, bend your right elbow, hook it to the outside of your left thigh, release your left palm, and then allow the left palm to join the right, find a twist. So you're using the right elbow as leverage to pull your chest a little closer towards your palms, and then left shoulder draws a little further back in space. See what the right leg is doing as it turned offline. Keep it nice and active. One more big breath. And then exhale, hands flat to the mat. Step forward, right foot to the top. Halfway lift, inhale. And then fold forward, exhale. Draw your feet as close as comfortable to touch. Find your chair pose, Utkatasana. As you draw the seat down and back, you should see all 10 toes past the knees. And then shift the hips a little further down and back. Try to sit really low. Take one more big breath. Press firmly through both feet. Rise all the way to standing. There's a back bend here if you want it. Drive both palms towards your heart. Release your hands to your sides. Nice. Inhale, arms extend all the way up. And then exhale, fold forward, hinge at your hips. Halfway lift, inhale. Then exhale, hands flat, step back. You have a vinyasa here if you want it, or as always, straight to downward facing dog. You can skip these. Find a back bend of your choice, up dog, cobra, locust. Exhale, draw the hips up and back, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Nice big inhale breath. Smooth exhale breath. One more deep inhale. Smooth exhale. Inhale, gaze forward, bend your knees. Bottom of your exhale, hop, step, jump, walk, top of your mat. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Then fold forward, Uttanasana. Once more, sit down low, find your chair pose, Utkatasana. Arms extend all the way up and overhead. Take your right hand to your right hip once more. Lengthen through the left. You guessed it. Bend your elbow. Hook it to the outside of your right thigh. Allow the right palm to join. So as you draw the seat down and back visually, can you see out of your periphery that your seat is a little lower than the shoulder girdle? Continue to use your left elbow as leverage. Right shoulder draws a little further back in space. Take one more smooth breath. And then exhale, fold forward, release. Halfway lift, really long spine. Then exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, sit down low, find your chair pose, Utkatasana. Nice. Feel the outer hips hug the inner. And then left hand towards your left hip. Elongate through the right. Then bend your right elbow, hook it to the outside of your left thigh. Allow the left palm to join. One more twist. Left shoulder a little further back in space. Once more, can you see that the shoulder girdle is higher than the hip? Can you drop your seat a little lower? Beautiful. One more breath. And then exhale, fold forward, release. Halfway lift, inhale. Then exhale, go ahead and lower to a seat. Find your Navasana boat pose once more. Feet can stay on the ground. You can elevate your shins if your hip flexors are having it, straighten through your legs, but continue to lean far back enough. You feel the low belly turn on. Take a smooth inhale breath. Then on your exhale, lower to Ardha Navasana. Shoulders stay hovering. Extend the legs out long in front of you. Feel the front ribs draw in, belly draws towards the spine. And then begin to elongate the right leg all the way up towards the ceiling. Press an imaginary wall in between your right leg. Take a smooth inhale breath. And then on your exhale, twist on over to your right. Can you lift the right shoulder a little higher? Continue to press your imaginary wall. Nice, lower the right leg down, come back towards center, lift the left. Smooth inhale breath. Exhale, twist on over to your left. Lift the left shoulder a little higher. Nice, inhale, come back towards center. Continue to press that wall, legs out long in front of you. Then do whatever it takes, rise all the way back up to your boat. Continue to hold here, 3, 2, and then 1, cross at your ankles, hands forward. Step back. You have a vinyasa here if you want it, or go for what I'm doing, skip it, straight to downward facing dog. Up dog cobra, locust on your inhale. Exhale, shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale breath. And then smooth exhale breath. Once more, big inhale. And then smooth exhale. Have your block handy nearby. And then whenever you're ready, draw the right leg up and back in space. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Go ahead and grab your block, place it off of your mat, and then your block or your water bottle, whichever the tallest setting is, place it at the highest one, and then just off of your mat on the left side, place your left palm on top of it. Now reach your right palm all the way up towards the ceiling. So here your chest is a lot higher. Left hip has a tendency to drop. So again, can you straighten through the left knee? Keep the lunge into your right. Here, I want you to take your right thumb, stick it into your right hip crease, and like we did before, use all 4 fingers, drive the flesh down towards the mat. Keep this, so your right hip is continuing to externally rotate, and then draw the right palm all the way up. Now lean back. Bump your hips a little closer towards the left as well, but keep the hips nice and high. Press the ground, press the block rather, or your water bottle, candle, stack of books, whatever you've got underneath. Press that and then continue to lean the right shoulder a little further back. And so one more big breath, listen. Now go ahead and straighten through the right leg. Okay? As you do this, chest stays nice and open, keeping the left hip from sagging down. One more breath. And then go ahead and return back to center. Release the left hand, hands frame the right foot. Scoot the left palm forward, about a palm print or so. And then rock on over to the baby toe edge of your left foot. Your right foot will scoot halfway down the mat. So it's like a right leg, your right leg is like a kickstand, right knee stays bent. All 10 toes point towards the right side of your mat. Like we did before, right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Listen, go ahead and drop the outer left hip down. Reach the right palm all the way back behind you. Just one more of this. Press the ground away from you, lift the pelvis up, right palm up. And then exhale, allow the outer left hip to lower down, reach the right palm back in space. Inhale, right palm all the way up. Exhale, right palm down, step back. Vinyasa of your choice, or skip it, go straight to down dog. Up dog, cobra, or locust. Exhale, draw the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale breath. Smooth exhale breath. Awesome. Inhale, gaze forward. And then exhale, feet to meet your hands, come to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, really long spine. Then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. And then exhale, hands towards your hips. Okay, so I'll go ahead and face you, but I want you to stick your right foot towards the center of your mat, and then draw your left foot all the way out towards the right edge of your mat, come in towards a curtsy lunge, bend both knees. If you want to, I will frame this nicely. If you want to massage your calf, then you can stick your left knee right behind the right calf, especially if you've been doing a lot of walking or sitting. It might have some interesting sensations, I'll say that. Once here, I want you to drop this seat down really, really low. So you really have to bend your knees, hug the outer hips. As you do this, take your right hand, the right thumb in towards the right hip crease once more. Drive the flesh down towards the mat. Lengthen the left arm all the way up. You guessed it. Side bend towards the right to start. Then bend your left elbow, hook it to the outside of your right thigh, right palm joins. So there's variation on this chair twist. The outer hips are working as you continue to drop the seat down and back, down and back. You got one more big breath here. And then slowly come out of it. Rise up first, release the legs, shake it out. Inhale, draw the arms all the way up and overhead. And then exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, really long spine. Exhale, hands flat, step back. Vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. Up dog, cobra or locust. Exhale, shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a smooth inhale breath, fill it up. Smooth exhale breath, let it go. Awesome. Inhale, left leg up. And then exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Place your block off of the right edge of your mat and then right palm on top of that. Reach the left palm all the way up towards the ceiling. So here, same thing, other side. You have a little more height, chest is lifted, a little deeper of a twist. This will facilitate. And then like I had you do before, take your left hand, stick the thumb into the hip crease, and then I want you to externally rotate at the hips and drive that flesh down. Keep the right hip from lifting. So heel is nice and active up and over your toes. As you press down through the right palm, elongate the left palm all the way up towards the ceiling. Now lean the left shoulder far, far back behind you. It's a little bit of a stretch through the outer left hip. You should feel that sensation. So you keep the lunge, continue to twist and open up. Take one more breath here. And then slowly start to straighten through the left leg. Bump your hips a little closer towards the right. Yeah. Continue to open the chest, left shoulder lays back, so it's nice and heavy. And then exhale, rebend through the left knee. Hands will begin to frame your left foot. Scoot your right palm, a giant palm print forward, and then make your way to your supported side plank variation. So you'll rock on over to the baby toe edge of your right foot. Scoot the left foot about halfway down your mat, and then all 10 toes will point towards the left leg edge. Lift the left palm all the way up. Keep the hips nice and high. Take a deep inhale breath. And then on your exhale, allow the outer right hip to lower down. Left palm comes towards the back of your mat. And just one more. Lift the hips up. Feel the obliques facilitate with that. And then lower the outer right hip down. Left palm towards the back of your mat. Just press through the right palm. Lift the hips. And then left palm down. Step back. Optional vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. Up dog, cobra, locust. Exhale, draw the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Smooth inhale breath. Smooth exhale breath. One more, please, deep inhale. And smooth exhale. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, feet to meet your hands, come to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Then fold forward, exhale. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing, press through both feet. And then once more, draw both hands towards your hips. So this time, left foot towards the middle of your mat and scoot the right leg all the way towards the left edge of your mat. Bend your knees, come into a curtsy lunge. Again, if you want to give that calf massage, you got that option. The right knee is just on the left calf. And then both hands to your hips to start. I want you to sit down really, really low. Keep the left hand on the left hip. Once more, externally rotate at the left hip. Elongate through the right side, reach, reach, reach. And then hook the right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Find this variation on your chair twist. And so the chest will be down a little lower, but see that the hips are nice and low. So keep that bend into your knees. Outer hips are working, quads are working. I know, I am doing this too. Left shoulder a little further back. Continue to use the right elbow as leverage. Then press through both legs, both feet. Rise all the way to standing. Undo the legs, shake it out. Nice. Inhale, arms extend all the way up and overhead. And then exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, hands flat. Optional vinyasa, or once more, skip it. Hold high plank or go straight to downward facing dog. Back bend of your choice. Then Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale, breath, fill it up. Smooth exhale, breath, let it go. One more, big inhale. And smooth exhale. All right, a little shoulder stability. I want you to rock forward to an almost plank pose. So the shoulders will arrive just before the wrists. From here, can you bend your elbows back almost as if you want to drop down to your forearms? And then press through both palms, straighten through the arms, come back to your almost plank pose. Nice, we'll do this 2 more times. Keep the shoulders just before the wrists. Bend your elbows, almost as if you want to come down towards your forearms. Then press firmly through both palms, straighten through both arms, arrive back in your almost plank pose. Last time, stay with this. Big inhale. Then exhale, bend your elbows back, keep the elbows hovering. Awesome, press through both palms, rise all the way back up, downward facing dog. Deep inhale, breath. Smooth exhale, breath. Awesome, inhale, right leg up. And then exhale, track your right knee over towards your right shoulder. Inhale, right leg up. Then exhale, track it over towards your left shoulder. From here, I want you to hold this, lift your knee up a little higher towards your armpit, round through the spine. Now stick your right leg all the way out, but don't let the foot fall towards the ground. Stick it all the way out, so I'll face you. Nice. And then begin to lift the left palm all the way up. So you're using your hip flexor, outer right hip, that's supporting to lift the right leg. Left palm forward. Now one more big breath. And then left palm down, right leg up and back in space. You guys got it. And then exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Rise up to a warrior 2. So left foot flat, arms reach all the way up and out like wings. So this is more or less to keep this nice and well balanced. Interlace your hands behind your low back as you keep the lunge into your right knee. Draw the shoulders up, down, and back. And then I want you to scoop both hands towards the outside of your right rib cage. Both face you. Once here, tip your right ear over towards your right shoulder, elongate through the left side of your neck. But with the feet, feel almost as if you are dragging the heel and the arch to meet each other in the middle. Perhaps you start to lift all 10 toes. Continue to keep the lunge as you keep the breath nice and steady. Take 2 more big breaths. Right ear towards the right shoulder as opposed to the right shoulder towards the right ear. Last one here. Toes lifted, set them down. Everyone, come back to center, lift your head back. Release the arms, come back to your warrior 2. Big inhale, breath, straighten through the right leg. Exhale, turn and pivot the right foot to parallel with the left. Elongate through the spine, then fold forward. You're standing wide-legged forward bend. Prasarita Padottanasana. So as you drive the head down once more, like we did in the beginning of class, can you visualize the entire pelvis tilting up towards the sky? I want you to shift more weight forward towards the ball mounds of your feet so you start to feel the toes grip the ground, the mat underneath you. And then feel the sensation behind the backs of both legs. Take 1 more big breath. And then on your exhale, hands underneath the face, turn and pivot. Walk your hands towards the top of your mat, but both hands set to the inside of your right foot. Soften the left knee down. As you do this, I want you to scoot the right foot a little forward and out. Toes turn out. Press down through the left palm. Reach the right palm all the way up once more. Stay if this works for you, or begin to bend the left knee, heel towards your glute, and you can grab a hold of your foot. If you are working with tighter hips, just shorten the angle. So right now, this is already a pretty intense angle here. All you'll do is you'll scoot the left knee forward so the hips can shift a little further back, and this might make it easier to reach the left foot. Those of you who want a little more intensity towards the front of the left hip, left quad, instead of peeling the right shoulder up, draw it down. And then create resistance as you drive your heel in towards your glute. Can you kick back into your hand? One more breath wherever you are. And then release the hold of your foot, hands back to your mat. Step back to your high plank, then optional vinyasa, or we'll meet in downward facing dog. Up dog, cobra, or locust. Exhale, shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale. And smooth exhale. One more, big inhale. And smooth exhale. All right, last standing. Inhale, left leg up. And then exhale, track the left knee over towards the left shoulder. Nice. Inhale, left leg up. And then exhale, left knee tracks over towards the right shoulder. Hold here, lift the knee up as high as you can. Now kick the left leg all the way out without letting the left foot touch the ground. Pick up your right palm, spin flat onto the right foot, lift the right arm, and then cross it all the way towards the top of your mat. Now, so one more big old side body stretch, reach. And then right palm down, left leg up and back in space, three-legged dog. Exhale, draw your foot in between your hands. Then spin the right foot flat once more, rise up, warrior two. All right, so in this warrior two, same thing, nice long stance, lunge deeply into the left knee. Take the opposite interlacing. So whichever thumb wasn't on top before now is. Shoulders draw up, down, and back. Then scoot both hands towards the left rib cage. This time left ear tips over towards the left shoulder. Depending on how the shoulders are feeling as well, feel almost as if you want to drive the elbows a little closer in to meet each other in the middle. Keep the lunge into your left knee, hold here. 2 more rounds of breath. So feel the right side of the neck elongate, get a little bit of a stretch, especially if you are like me and have had computer neck. Just one more breath. And then come back towards center, release your bind, arms reach all the way out. Go ahead and straighten through the leg, left leg, and then turn and pivot, left foot to parallel with the right. Once more, really broad chest lift. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, fold forward any amount. You can play with the width of your stance, shorten it, widen it, see what's working for the hips. Typical rule of thumb, if the hips are feeling tight, then your feet will be further away from each other. If you're a little more open, then the stance will be a little shortened. As you do this once more, feel almost as if you're going to topple over so you can maximize the sensation to the backs of both legs. More weight shifted forward towards the ball mounds of your feet. You got one more deep breath. And then hands underneath your face. Turn and pivot towards the top of your mat. Both hands to the inside of your left foot. And then soften the right knee down. Wiggle the left foot forward and out, toes turn out. Press down through the right palm. Reach the left fingertips all the way up. Stay if this is already plenty sensation, or you can bend at the right knee, left palm draws all the way up and over. And once more, just begin to acknowledge if you might have to decrease the angle. Both hips aren't necessarily one-to-one, where it's symmetrical and the same. So it might be the case that you're scooting the right knee forward a bit. And then whichever variation you did in this lizard, if the left shoulder was up, great, stay. Or if you need a little more sensation to the front, right hip, right quad, drive the left shoulder down. Be sure to create that action for yourself. So kick into your hand just as much as your hand is trying to pull your foot in towards your glute. You got one more breath here. And then go ahead and release that. Nice. Left palm back down. From here, slight variation. Go ahead and tuck the right toes, lift the right knee. And then hop the right foot to the outside of the right palm. Lower your seat down any amount. Come in towards your malasana, your squat. So again, depending on the hips, especially if the heels are lifted, you can widen your stance and hold on to the heels, the shins, or just lower the seat down. Take one more big breath. And then just lower all the way down to a seat. Okay, how's it going? It's going. Okay, good deal. So I'll give you a little bit of time to play in towards an arm balance called Ekapada koundinyasana 2. And it is basically, you can think about this as a side crow that has its legs extended. However, in the variation, the twisted chair variation that we've been doing, it'll give you several options and several layers. So I'll show you how we'll get into it and then give you time to play with that, and I'll guide you through each side. So now is the perfect time to drink some water and yeah, just watch me. Okay, so we'll come in towards our chair variation. So we'll start out in the curtsy lunge. So I will, I'll start out with my, this is my Instagram side, so I'll go with this side. I'll place my left hand onto my left hip, and then I'll reach my right palm all the way up, find that twist. Once here, I'll bring my hands just out in front of me. So my legs I'm already twisted, and I'm already set up for a side crow variation if I want to go for that. And I'll bring my hands down, and then hands will be about shoulder width distance. And then all I have to do is I have to bend my elbows back. So that's why we did those almost plank pose push-up variations. And then I have a firm point of contact with my thigh to my tricep. And then I can just start to look forward, shift forward, and then perhaps the legs lift. Perhaps they straighten all the way out. And I find my balance here. Or I can just keep my knees bent and then arrive back on my feet. Just like that. So you could try it with this variation. You are already set up in that twist, and you're already set up with your hips nice and high. So all it is a controlled shift weight forward. If you would prefer to do this on your back, you can always take the twisted crow variation that we did on our back, just pressing an imaginary wall out towards the right. You're still building that low belly strength. Cool? Okay, perfect. Okay, so you have many different stages that you can take this to. I don't expect a whole lot of hang time because, I mean, you see how well I did. Yeah. So we'll go through it the right, the left. If you want to do this on your back, I'll let you guide yourself. We'll start out with the right foot out in front, come in towards that curtsy lunge. So bring the left foot all the way out, bend both knees. From here, bring your right hand towards your right hip, lengthen through the left. Then bend your elbow, hook to the outside of your right thigh. Now instead of joining the palms together, bring both hands out in front of you. Yeah. From here, you have a firm point of contact with your left tricep to your right thigh. And then you can always stay here, bend the elbows back, just gently shift weight forward. Or squeeze the inner thighs a shit ton, lift the hips up really high, gaze forward, look forward, then perhaps the feet lift. You can keep the knees bent here, or perhaps they separate. Or perhaps you fall on your face, nobody saw. Yeah. Beautiful, nice. You got it. I believe in you, Ben.
No, I don't.
That was great. Any amount of pose is still the pose. Awesome. You got it, Robin. I see that cat. Okay, so 2 legs means 2 sides. Yes, Chris. So whenever you're ready, come back up. We'll set up for the other side. So left foot out in front of you this time. You'll bring your right leg all the way out towards the left. Bend both knees, come in towards that curtsy lunge once more. Left hand towards your left hip, elongate through the right. Bend your right elbow, hook it to the outside of your left thigh. Nice. And then just set your hands down to the outside of your left foot. And then bend the elbows back. So you've got that firm point of contact with your left thigh to your right tricep. Perhaps this is where you stay, or as you bend the elbows, keep the hips nice and high. Look forward, shift weight forward. And then perhaps both sets of feet lift. Maybe they extend out. Nice. You guys got it. I don't know about you, but I am sweating so much. I never learned that I am doing this with you. Okay, great. 3 rounds of breath, child's pose, please. So just take these next few moments, decelerate. Feet out super wide, toes touch together, or rather knees out super wide. You'll bring the hands really far forward, rest the forehead onto something. This could be your block, your water bottle, books. People have gotten really creative. Soup cans, I've seen candles. And just let the belly be heavy as you feel the outer hips get one final stretch. Rock the forehead from left, right, right, left as it feels good. And then round of breath here together, big inhale. Open mouth, exhale. All right, as you are ready, press back up to all fours. And then swing your legs out to one side, recline all the way onto your back. And then begin to hug both knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Circles to the left, to the right with your knees. Release out the low back. Awesome. And then gently set both feet on the mat about hip width distance-ish. There's 2 rounds of back bends here. If you do have a yoga block, you can go towards a supported bridge. Otherwise, everyone else press into your feet firmly, hands to the sides of your hips. Fill up the lungs with air through your inhale. And then on your exhale, use that as force to lift the pelvis, low back, mid back, upper back. Any interlacing that you'd like to do underneath the low back is cool. You can bend at the elbows, create robot arms. You can grab for the edges of your mat, pull out. That'll give you space to shimmy the shoulders underneath, prop your chest up onto something. And then wherever you are, even if you're on the block, keep a light squeeze through the inner thighs, glutes, and then lift up from the heart space as opposed to the pelvis. Take one more deep breath here. On your exhale, lower pelvis, rather upper back, mid back, low back, pelvis. Come back. All right, another back bend of your choice. Haven't done a whole lot of chest opening, so I'm not gonna really recommend Urdhva Dhanurasana wheel, but if you have pretty open shoulders, go for that. Otherwise, we will go towards fish, or if there's another back bend that you'd like to do, go for that. With your fish, legs extend out long in front of you. Go ahead and slide one palm underneath each glute. So it's almost as if the thumbs want to touch each other. Here, you'll begin to bend at your elbows, and this will create a little bit of a shelf for you. And then press into your elbows, feel your chest lift. And then either keep the head lifted, a little bit of work for the neck muscles, or just tip your head back. So it's almost as if the shoulders are touching the ears. As you press into the elbows, the forearms, feel the hips really, really heavy and dig the heels lightly in towards the ground. One more breath. And then go ahead and release the chest all the way down, and then one palm at a time releases. Feet as wide as your mat. Allow both knees to knock into each other. Take an inverted bridge. Both hands to the belly. Take a round of breath. Awesome. Keep this. Both knees fall over to the left. So you're creating more or less 2 number 7s, 2 Ls. A little bit of pull through the front right hip. Stay in this twisted variation, or you'll take your left ankle, hook it up and over your right knee. Draw your right arm all the way up and over at a diagonal. And gaze past the right shoulder. Feel the belly inflate and deflate as you continue to slow down the breath cadence. Really nice. One more here. Unhook your left ankle, come back towards center, switch. Knees fall over to the right once more, 2 number 7s. Stay if this is already enough, or right ankle up and over the left thigh, left arm all the way up and out at a diagonal. You're gonna gaze past towards your left armpit, left tricep. And as always, if this variation is pulling on the low back too much, then release this, just stack both knees on top. Take one more smooth breath, and then undo it. Beautiful. Go ahead and hug both knees in towards your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins, squeeze all the muscles in your face. Nice. Draw the forehead to the knees, sip in a little more air. And then final posture, Shavasana. Legs out, arms out. I always go to the metaphor like you are a starfish on the seafloor, but I am not a marine biologist. I think they live in tide pools, but anyway, I digress, but just take up all the space is what I'm saying. If you prefer a seated meditation, that is always cool as well. But just a few moments here. Everything that's in contact with the back body stays really, really heavy as you feel the breath being the most interesting thing in your life right now. Enjoy these final few moments. I will guide you out very shortly. So just continue to feel how heavy the back body is. And if you do have the gift of time, I always encourage you to stay resting for as long as you'd like. Otherwise, begin to draw life back into the fingers, the toes, as you rock your head on its axis a few times, left, right, left. And invite deeper breaths into the body as you feel the rib cage expand and contract. In your own time, arms extend all the way up and overhead. Deep into your knees, roll onto your favorite side supported fetal posture. Take a moment to acknowledge the effort that it took to arrive to your mat. Just
Give yourself once more that credit for creating that discipline to take time out of your day to be here in the body. And then with your opposite palm, press yourself up to a comfortable seat. So maintain the softness in the gaze or allow the eyes to stay closed, hands towards heart center. Thank you very, very much for sharing your practice, your energy, breath, presence, allowing me the honor to guide practice. And together we draw the thumbs to third eye center and lift our chins up just a little higher. And as always, we find our mutual love and respect for each other, this practice, this community. Thumbs to the lips to seal in the breath. And then finally, thumbs back to the heart, where we feel our heartbeat, and this reminds us our hearts beat the same. Our blood course is the same. At the end of the day, we're one and the same. It's also from this place that we bow forward to each other with love, gratitude. So humbly, I bow to you, all teachers in your own right. Namaste.